Well, can you imagine what would happen if the seed, a small seed, decided to remain a seed? So, if the seed decided to remain a seed, it would never realize its true potential to grow into a magnificent tree. Can you imagine what would happen if a human being decided to not do any self development work? Welcome to Maya and Illusion, where we connect with our spirituality. This is your host, Maya Nair, a philosophy junkie with a deep desire to serve the world. I've come to know that knowledge is bliss and ignorance a blister. So let's drop our suffering and seek our infinite potential, shall we? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Maya and Illusion podcast. And I just want to thank all those people who reached out to me after listening to the first episode, and it was really encouraging to hear that you really love the podcast, and I'm just really happy. Thank you so much to all of you. And let's get to today's episode. So today we'll be talking about something amazing, something I really love, which is the crux of Vedanta. What does Vedanta say at its core? Realizing which we can liberate ourselves from this suffering of life. That's what we want to know, right? How can we live a better life? And what does Vedanta say? So before we get to that, let's talk about Vedanta itself. So what is Vedanta? What does it mean? The word Vedanta can be divided into Veda and Ant. Veda, as we all know, is the ancient spiritual texts, and Veda actually means knowledge, and Ant means end. So Vedanta together, if you put Veda and Ant together, it becomes Vedanta, and it means the end of Veda. So Vedanta is the portion of Vedas which come towards its end, which is like the summary, Like when you read a chapter, towards the end you have a summary of that chapter. So Vedanta is like the summary of the Vedas. So there are 4 Vedas, as we all know. They are Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. And this Sanskrit literature, very, very interesting, is not actually written by any human being. It's not a book written by someone. It is believed to be shared with the saints or rishis of old time. The Lord himself shared this knowledge with rishis. It was sort of revealed to them in their meditation, which I think is very cool. And one person who is the main figure, who played a very instrumental role in compiling Vedas, is Vedavyasji. Okay? He was the one who compiled Vedas, and hence he got his name, Lord Vedavyas. So that was some cool stuff, information about Vedas and Vedanta. Now let's get to the juicy part of this podcast, the crux of Vedanta. What is it? So I'll tell you, don't worry. But let me have some drum roll, some noise, make some noise for the cool stuff. Because this information is vital, guys. Knowing this, understanding this, and living this, we can free ourselves from the bondages and limitations and the sorrows of life. And don't we all want that? Don't you want that? Tell me. Let me know. I'm sure you do. So if you're ready, I'm going to share with you the crux of Vedanta. So here we go. The main message of Vedanta is this. Tat Tvam Asi. Wait, what? Come again? I didn't get that. Alright, I'm gonna say that again. Tat Tvam Asi. Alright guys, that was it. That's the crux of Vedanta. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm just gonna go. So, I wish it was that simple and I could just say, this is it and go. But let's break it down a little further. Let's truly, truly understand this term, this phrase. So, Tattvamasi is actually one of the Mahavakyas or great sayings, and there are a couple of them which I will talk about in my upcoming episodes. So, Tattvamasi means, so let's go word by word. Tat means that, Tvam means you, and Asi means is or are. So, Tattvamasi can be translated as that you are or that art thou. The amazing person listening to this podcast, you are not this human being that you think yourself to be. You are that. That what? You are that life principle that enlivens the entire universe. That you are. Whoa. That escalated pretty quick. Living principle and living universe. Hold up, I don't understand any of that. Okay. I do get it. It's a little woo-woo out there stuff. Let's break it down. Let's go deeper and truly, truly understand this because, it's important that we truly understand this. So, my question to you is, who are you? Or, if I want to be a little rude, who do you think you are? Okay, but I don't mean it in the rude way, okay? So, for most of us, or like a majority of us, we think ourselves to be this limited entity. And we can only do so much. You're probably Ram or Sita. I mean, like your name, okay? You're probably Ram or Sita, son of so-and-so, works at so-and-so's company, you have a degree in a particular subject, and if I'm guessing right, you're probably doing engineering like me. It's nothing against engineers. There are a lot of engineers, and the proud reason is that I'm studying in engineering college. Yeah, that's definitely the reason. Okay, getting back to the point. So, this is our idea about ourselves, that we are this limited entity. We are limited by our body, our mind, and intellect, like our instruments. But Vedanta says otherwise. Vedanta says you are infinite. And Vedanta says you're not part of the divine. You are the divine. And let me say that again because I really like that. You're not part of the divine. You are the divine. And I agree that this is all nice to hear, but hard to digest or just live by. Because our experience is kind of the opposite, When your rude professor calls you into the cabin, or if you're working, your rude boss calls you into the cabin and says, "You moron, why are you so inefficient at work?" You don't feel like a divine person. Or someone on the internet says something bad about you. You don't think, "Oh, I am divine, I am infinite." Absolutely not, right? And there are instances in our own lives where our actions are contrary to our divine nature. So, we do understand that we are experiencing this world which is finite in nature. And we have put conditioning on ourselves, and we've been telling ourselves that, we are finite or we are limited. So just to give you an analogy and just tell a story, I will share with you this. So once there lived a fish, a very happy fish, and it swam around in the water all day long. So one day an owl came up to the fish, and it has to be an owl because owls are wise, duh, and said, "Oh dear, you're not this fish that you think you are. You're a bird. Don't you see it? Come on, spread your wings and fly." And the fish is like, "Are you crazy? I'm a fish. I can't fly." So this situation is similar to what we are experiencing. We are that deluded bird who thinks that it is a fish. You're not a fish. You're a bird and you can fly. Yeah, that was kind of funny. Well, can you imagine what would happen if the seed, a small seed, decided to remain a seed? It would look at itself and be like, oh, I'm so small. How can I ever be that magnificent tree? So if the seed decided to remain a seed, it would never realize its true potential to grow into a magnificent tree. Can you imagine what would happen if a human being decided to not do any self-development work? He or she would never realize his or her true potential. And Vedanta is like really calling you out and telling you that you've got everything in the world to do amazing things and live your best life and realize your infinite potential. Vedanta is your wake-up call, and if you let it, it will let you wake up. So, do you want to wake up? Or are you happy being in Maya land or illusion land? And I really, really hope that we all choose to wake up, guys, because it's important. No matter how beautiful the dream is, it's amazing to wake up. So, this is going to be a long journey, but it's going to be a worthwhile one, a beautiful one, an extremely freeing one. And the best part is that we're all in this together. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more. And if you think a friend of yours might like this, please do share it with them. And if you've got any suggestions or questions for me, you can let me know over at my blog, which is www.mayaandillusion.com. Or you can find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'll put all the links in the show notes, which you can find over at my blog. And I can't wait to connect with all of you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for spending it with me. Thank you for working on yourself and truly being self-development warriors, if that's something I can say. So thank you so much. Have the best day of your life. We'll talk soon. Before I leave, I want to remind you that you are Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence, consciousness, and pure bliss. Everything else is Maya and illusion.